the fuck up.
They shave their hair because they start losing it. Because they're so stressed being around this black girl complaining about shit all the fucking time. That's why they gotta shave their hair.
Nah, bro. White guys with black girlfriends,
they grow a beard because
there's
there's more cushion when they get slapped the fuck out of.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are here at a greater conversation. For those that are new to the show, this is this place where Josh and I get some things off of our chest. I say it every week. Tomorrow's not promised to cuss the people out today. Josh, I'm going to choose joy this week. Is there anything you want to get off your chest?
You low-key make me feel bad because you've been choosing joy like 3-4 weeks in a row, and I've been doing ranting on stuff, and it's okay. I'll be that friend.
I'm going to have some next week, I'm sure.
I'll be there for I'm okay. I would say I'm going to keep it short, but I don't know how short it's going to be once I get going, so I'm just going to say what I'm going to say. I recently have become a fan of James and Fuhad. They are the co-host of the Stuff and Giggles podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Really, a lot of black boy joy, really interesting, funny takes. Love their friendship, so forth and so on. They're based in the UK, and they did an American tour, and they began to express, some things about their American tour that was interesting, and a lot of it may have been a cultural difference. So, for example, they said that it came to Atlanta and had a hard time finding baddies in Atlanta. Now, for those who are listening, like my mama, hey mama,
crazy.
A baddie is a very beautiful, top of the line. She's a dime. That's top of the line. Cute face, thin waist, and a big behind, right?
Behind.
Right? That's a baddie, right? Super cute, super attractive. And so while every city, I believe, has beautiful people, but particularly when you get to larger metropolitan areas, LA, New York, Atlanta, Houston, Dallas, Miami, Chicago, in any major city, Detroit, Memphis, Charlotte, right? It is hard to say that you can't find a slew of attractive people. Right. Whether you're a man or a woman, whoever you're attracted to, I'm sure you're going to walk in some mall, some store, some restaurant where you'll be like, ooh, right? And maybe not fawning and fiending, but you're going to find, I would suggest, it won't be too hard finding somebody attractive, right? When you're talking about major metropolitans. And then when we get to the outliers of like the Atlantas of the world, especially with how many educated, well-groomed, well-put-together black folk that are in Atlanta. No baddies, but I get it. You're from the UK. Maybe it's a cultural difference. Maybe what we see as beautiful and super or whatever is different from your version. I can't judge that. But it did put a thing in people's minds like, right? They went on another podcast, and there was this white podcaster, the host, Andrew Schwartz or Andrew Charles, whatever his name is. And from what I understand, I don't listen to the gentleman, but he has had a history of giving out some racist commentary and tries to, cover it up in jokes and stuff like that. In this particular podcast, he asked James and Fuhad, have they ever dated a white woman? And they said, yeah. Then he said, which one did you like the best? And they kind of laughed and kind of avoided the question. And he took it as, that means you like white women better. And he said, probably because they don't talk back. They don't do this. You ain't got to have every negative stereotype and trope around black women. This white man went down the list and gave. And James and Fuhad, as two black men, sat there and laughed.
This is Andrew Schultz, they said?
I think so.
Maybe Charlamagne's friend?
Charlamagne's friend, yes, that dude.
Okay, wow,
that dude. That's the podcast they were on. And they sat there and laughed hysterically. And what made it even more, if you juxtapose that with other segments and questions, Andrew also made some very inappropriate jokes about like Indian Americans and things like that. And they gave a straight face like, nope, this ain't funny. We're not leaning to that. When it came to these things about black women, that laughter was uncontrollable. It looked very comfortable. Now, I could make this a big rant about James and Fuhad and all the mistakes that they made in their moment. You can go on TikTok and literally search their name. And there's a bunch of people reading them for filth. There's a few things that I want to tackle specifically. There's a part of my greater conversation. And one of them is this. As a DEI professional, I understand that racism and the concept of race in the United States and America is very, very, very different, right? Even though, what's the woman? Is it Tyler? Who make me sweat?
Yes, Lord.
Like when she came out saying she was colored, we was over here going crazy. But as a South African woman, right? That is the phrase and the term that they use. Yeah. I've heard stories of black people in the UK who think that we are overly sensitive when it comes to race because they may experience the same microaggression, but their experience as an English black person is very different than a black American black person. Yeah. So their response to certain things is also, tailored on their cultural nuance experience. I'm not saying I agree with them. Yeah. I'm just saying their perspective is different, right? However, as a DEI professional, Brian, what I also know is that racism is still racism.
Yeah.
So there's very little space for me to conceptually understand that, even if it's just the fact that I got a black mama and you go and you telling me, oh, I know how you like white women better because the black woman do this, do that. Like that's racial. That is racist, right? And to categorize these groups of women, even if you look at microaggressions, which aren't micro, by the way, in a certain light, when you start building lists like this and categorizing and typecasting people, something in your spirit and your soul should be like, this ain't cool.
Mm-hmm.
Particularly when your major demographic, both the United States and the UK, are black women. That's who majority listens to you.
Yeah.
So it was the lack of defense of not only just your target market and the major part of your community, but the women who are part of the very fabric of who you are, right? And it is this denial of, and they said it was fight or flight. But what I really want to lean into is this. It seems as if we always want to say as black men, or put us on there, black men protect black women until it's time to protect a black woman.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying you got to be out here and like, if you go out there and fight a dude, blah, blah, blah. But you need to be sometimes being an ally is being a strong witness.
Yeah.
Is speaking up in areas. When you're asked to give testimony, give that testimony, right? When you're asked to do certain things, be bold about it, laying your privilege on the line to make sure that there's equity, there's access, there's all these different types of things. And in that space, because even in their apology, I will say this is one thing I will lean on for them. They was like, everybody's saying if it was me, I would have got up and kicked the mic down, blah, blah, blah. I wouldn't have got up and kicked the mic down, but I would have been like, hey, we gonna chill. We're not gonna sit here and talk about black women like that, specifically from no white man. I can almost guarantee you that some language around like that would have came out of my mouth. I don't care about that platform that much. For this white man to sit in my face and degrade black women in my face, and you trying to take it as a joke. Have you lost your mind? And that's why sometimes these white people get comfortable. Because we become complicit in situations. And I understand fight or flight. I know some people are socially awkward and you don't know what to do. But I can't foresee a world where any white person is negatively beating up my community, especially based on negative stereotypes, right? And I'm just going to sit there and let that happen. If we having a one-on-one conversation about like a Candace Owens or somebody, as long as you don't use the word nigga or jigaboo or something crazy, we can drag Candace Owens because Candace Owens got a character issue.
Yeah.
And some stuff about Candace, I might still check you on because that's still in the community thing.
Yeah.
But for the most part, we can all agree that Candace Owens is a pretty ill-informed, terrible person, right? But when you start talking about black women as a community and then do it on the basis of they always got an attitude, they already rolling their necks, they probably giving you a hard time, like, whoa, brother.
That's too much.
Whoa, brother.
Yeah.
No, bro, that's almost like when Marjorie Taylor Greene tried to do the eyelash thing with Jasmine Crockett. We knew exactly what that was.
Yeah, without a doubt.
That wasn't you just coming for her appearance. You were coming from, you were putting a stereotypical black woman trope on her to say that she looked ghetto, she did this, she did that. And we can say whatever you want to say about eyelashes, but the way that woman likes to present herself is not definitive or derivative of who she is, her intellect, her personhood, any of those types of things, right? And we got to stop allowing all this respectability politics and these cultural assimilating things from white people to define who we are. And when they try to say certain things, they be like, oh, well, I didn't mean it like that. Yes, you did. Right. Because you meant it as the racist trope that it was. So my greater conversation is for black folk who are complicit in advancing racial narratives, specifically from white folk with platforms, because you're afraid of what it's going to do to yours. There is no space that I've been in this DEI lane and world where I've been afraid to speak out against injustices on major stages and platforms. Right. I've gotten on major stages in front of rooms of white people who told me to get on these stages and told them that white supremacy is the ocean and not the shark, and went on to explain about how their supremacy and their actions feed into systemic issues and pressure. And I know it's tough for them to hear sometimes, but I would not be doing my job if I didn't do it. And with these platforms comes responsibility. And if you're not going to be able to live up to that responsibility and do it, now I'm not saying that James Fuhad has to be DEI advocates or experts or anything of that magnitude, but it is bare minimum, Brian. It's like picking up a piece of trash in your house and putting it in the garbage, right? Mm-hmm. It is bare minimum effort for you to stop and be like, hey, we're not going to disrespect black women. Yeah. That don't take a lot of training and effort. That takes a lot of cognitive recognition, but the dissonance there is so strong that it is unfair to blame it on the cultural separations that exist between being a Black American and an English American, right? That's not going to fly with me. And what I'm telling us as Black people is that we have to come to the space where we defend our Blackness in a way that it's not like, oh my God, we're always on edge, but we refuse to allow people to do these things to us and make these comments and we just let it fly. Like it ain't that deep. It's always that deep.
Yeah.
It's always that deep. And I learned that early just from my last name. My last name is Rodgers. And my dad used to tell me, never let them forget it. Stand on their neck. When I used to get awards sent home without the D, my daddy would send it back, bro. He was like, so he ingrained in me at a young age, don't ever let them minimize, like, oh, it was just a mistake. No, it's a typo, now go fix it. Right. And it's the same thing. Oh, I wouldn't mean it that way. Okay, well, you said it, now fix it.
Yeah.
Don't let it. And there's too many of us letting us, even like with Kamala Harris, I've said it over and over and over. You ain't got to like her, but you ain't got to lie on her. Yeah. Right? Calling her a hoe, calling her out her name, saying she did this, saying she did that. Like, you can disagree on policy, but let's leave the one. And I understand the society we live in, but it still don't make it right.
Right.
It don't make it right. And when we're presented with specific examples of spaces, specifically in the face of white supremacy, in the face of, like, first of all, why the heck did you go on this show anyway? Did you not do your research of who you was going on anyway? This man does not like black people or people of color. And Charlamagne may be his token. Lois the Keys, right? The one black, like, that's his one black friend. We know them folks.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. I'm getting more upset than when I talk about it. Because and I think the election cycle has just exacerbated it, bro. And I think the other thing is that I'm a little disappointed. I'm calling out James and Fuhad, like, because I don't really do that. That's really not my style to call out people. But I really started to enjoy them. And I'm not canceling them. I don't think I'm there yet. But I really started to enjoy them. So this is kind of disappointing in a sense. And maybe I'll say some stuff that some of y'all may not like, right? So please let me know. And, and I'm willing to learn and listen and correct and course correct. But I really started to enjoy them. But this was just so blatant. This was, to me, not an ignorance thing. This was literally passive acceptance. You just let it fly. And that's not.
Yeah. Silence is just as loud as saying something.
Bro, it's tacit agreement. When you don't say something, people take it as agreement. So that's it. That's all I got.
That's good. That's more than enough. I feel like you've said it a lot and it's very thoughtful, poignant, and you didn't degrade them, but you definitely held them accountable and brought to the carpet. So gotta respect.
Amen. Well, that being said, understood and accepted. It's another episode of Jigsaw Podcast.
Thank you.
Shout out to Nigel again for coming on and blessing us on the show. Thank you so much. Desiree, we missed you. I understand that you had a meeting, but so excited that y'all agreed to be on the show and bless us with your humor, your intellect, all your insight. Be sure to follow them. Go buy the game. If you're going to support black business, me and Brian said, we're going to support them. Go buy the game.
Funny.
Go buy the game. Run them numbers up and all other things. Again, thank y'all for coming and thank the listeners for support. Brian?
Yeah. Again, we'll be great without you, but we're greater with you. Continue to follow us on all the social medias.
Yeah.
I'm Josh Rodgers. I am Bryan Haire, the Jigsaw Podcast. We're on TikTok.
Oh, that was Memphis. Wait a minute. I am Bryan Haire.
Bryan Haire. Follow us on all the social medias, right? Support us. Anything we put out there, engage with it, share it, like it, subscribe. We're on YouTube now. Please check us out. Email askthejigsaw@gmail.com. If you have a question, you want to send us something, if you have a guest that you want on the show or a suggestion for the show, let us know. We would love to hear your feedback. If you're going to rate us 5 stars, nothing at all, leave comments, just let us know. Gas us up. Let us know how great we are. If you have something coming up, a wedding, birthday, bar mitzvah, whatever it is, invite us. We may not show up, but please invite us. We would love the invitation. And we may or may not send you a gift. Before we head out, Josh, let the people know what they need to do.
All you can do is what you can, while you can, in the best ways that you can. But in all you're doing, protecting black women is one of the ways we do not get caught with our work undone.
Right.
See y'all next week.
Love y'all.